Let's continue with our discussion of the records menu, but let me remind you the records menu can be a scary place. There's very important things here like new record, but there are very scary things like delete records and delete found records. And you'll find out the replace field contents and relookup field contents can be scary as well. If used properly, they're great tools, but if you let users get to them, people who don't know FileMaker very well, they may make mistakes. In fact, you may make a mistake yourself. You may accidentally choose delete found records when you thought you chose delete record and delete all your records in your found set. I've seen it happen many times in tech support. Many times. So don't gloss over when we cover later accounts and privileges as well as custom menus. These will help limit what people can do in these menus. People are just trying to get their job done as quickly as possible. They sometimes don't pay attention to this stuff. So don't leave these places for them to trip and fall because you're going to pay for it in the end. So let's go ahead and talk about replace field contents and relookup field contents and revert record. Now replace field contents is dimmed. Why? Well, all three of these choices require us to do something else. In the case of these two, you have to have your cursor in a field. So I'll click into the first name field, and now you'll see that it's available. Now both of these work on the found set, right? Over here. Same as delete found records. Replace field contents will replace and put the same value on all the records in the found set. If I did it right now, it would put Bob on every single record on 41 records. And that's not what we really want here. Let's show it in context of something you can actually would be important to do. In order to do that, we need to make a field called category. But before we do that, since I'm not really going to show you layout mode yet, we're going to go into preferences. And remember that preferences on Windows is under the edit menu. So we'll go into preferences. And I told you to turn this off. Now you may not have, but I don't like this feature. But just so we don't have to go into layout mode and show you how to add this field, we're going to check this temporarily. We'll click OK and then go back into Manage Database. And first thing I noticed was I accidentally named DOB in all caps, and that's against my naming convention. So I'm going to go back and fix it. This happens a lot because you're just typing really fast. So hit change, and then we'll type in category. Make sure we make that a text field, and then we'll create. Click OK. It gets added. You see DOB, the label's even changed. And what we want to have happen here is type in commercial here. But before I do that, I'm going to go back into preferences and turn that option off because I really don't like it. It messes up the layout. Although we really don't have much to mess up yet, I don't want to forget. So I'm going to type in commercial here. Make sure you spell it right. And if I use replace field contents, it's going to put the same value on all 41 records, not the 3 records that aren't in the found set. So we'll choose it. Now there are actually many choices in there. There's 3. Here's the most simple approach which we're going to use, and we're going to cover the rest of them later. So we're just going to do the simple replace, which puts the same value on every record. But before you do that, before you come down here and hit replace, make sure you read this every time because this is permanent. And it says permanently replace the contents of the field category, make sure you have the right field, in the 41 records, double check that found set, and just really think about this. You don't want to go through this because you can't undo this. It's going to be permanent. So once you've verified that, we'll hit replace, and as we walk through the records, you'll notice that commercial is on every single record in the found set. Now if we create a new record though, it's not going to be on there. In order to do that, we need to go to Manage Database, find our category field, go into Options, and auto-enter the word commercial. Very simple. Each new record is going to get that default value. Now eventually we're going to put a pop-up menu on that field, not right now, but eventually, so you can choose something other than commercial. But if commercial is your most common category, why not have it automatically enter it for you? So we'll click OK, create another new record, and commercial's on it. So we'll delete a couple of these records. We don't really need these blank ones. There we go. And we're back to Bob's record. And let's take a look at relookup. Now we're really not going to get that far into it because we don't have any lookups. So therefore we can't do a relookup. But the idea is you click into a field that's used as a match for that lookup or a key field. So it requires a relationship. And you can say go and relookup and copy all the values, the current values from that related table into this one based on the match field I'm clicked into. Now you'll also notice the revert record is not available. You have to actually make a change. So if we change this to Bobby, Now you can see the revert record is there. Now no matter how many fields we change on that record, and let's do it, let's actually type in street here. So I've changed 2 fields. If I choose to revert the record and I say revert, it goes back to it was no matter what fields were on there. So it's very handy if you go, oh man, I was changing the wrong record. Revert record can come in very handy.